and I bought 4 huge rally fog lights, and I had light power like no other. So it was this little Mini Cooper, and every time somebody cut me off on the freeway, I would just let them have it with the lights, just light them up, because it was super bright, super bright. As the years have gone by, we've strayed a little bit away from what it means to be in the car culture.
Happy to have another episode kicking off of Me and My Motor, presented by MOTORMIA, and it's going to be a great day. I'm super excited to be here with Alex Fish. Menacci?
Yeah, Fish Menacci,
yeah. Beautiful. I'm a butcher the name. I apologize. Okay. Let's kick right off and just tell us a little bit about I think you're from here in Arizona. Tell us a little bit about you and where you're from and a little bit of your background. It'd be great.
So I was originally born in LA.
Yeah.
Moved to Mexico City.
Cool.
Lived in Mexico City till I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
Moved to Texas with my dad. And I finished high school, college in Texas. And then I came here to Arizona for medical clerkships. Okay. I ended up staying here. And now I live here and I love it. Arizona's a great state.
Cool.
Amazing back roads.
Yeah.
Automotive culture here is crazy.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I was going to ask you a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, California automotive culture is par none. But outside of California, I think Arizona is like the next step up.
Yeah, I've actually had some people tell me today that Arizona is California now.
Yeah.
It's Texas too. It's becoming California now. So maybe they're bringing in that car culture as well.
Yeah. But there's crazy collections here that I would never have thought of. In my life.
I got to do my first Barrett Jackson this year.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It's crazy. No?
I was overwhelmed, but I was also like jaw on the ground.
Yeah,
going what the
price for all those C10s?
Oh no,
$300K.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts, but exciting. And it's clear being here in Scottsdale. I think Isaac founded the company in a good spot.
Yeah, it's perfect spot.
They're just driving by.
Drive up and down. It's like being in LA.
Yeah,
McLarens, Ferraris, Lambos,
and cool builds.
Yeah, and amazing builds
like this,
and nice people. Yeah,
and nice people. Yeah,
the culture here
and nice weather. You can take that Targa top off.
Now I can.
Yeah,
just wait a couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, tell me how you got started. I mean, give me sort of what's your founding story. What was that first mod that got you into it? I mean, I know you got a story about your dad in this car, but let's talk just where'd the love come from?
So when I was in high school, moved to Texas recently. My dad kind of was like, hey, if you get straight A's for the 2 years in a row, I'll buy you any car you want in this price range. Right. So I went out and I bought a John Cooper Works Mini Cooper S. That was my first car, my car. Okay. And it came standard. It came with a nice Mini Cooper wheels.
And you bought it new or used?
No, brand new.
Brand new.
I think it was like $28K at the time.
Yeah.
Amazing car.
Yeah.
Supercharged, inline 4.
Yeah. What year was this?
2006.
2006. Okay.
Yeah. I had a minivan before that. I had my dad's used minivan before.
So your first real car was your dad's minivan.
Yeah. And it was
just make that sure that's on there.
Yeah.
On
it was
the resume.
A Volkswagen Charon, which is only sold in Europe.
Okay.
And in Latin America. It's a minivan. It's a 4-door minivan.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because when I was in high school, none of my friends had cars.
Yeah.
Well, or one of them had a car.
Okay.
And we would drive around in the minivan, and the minivan had tables that would flip up.
Yeah.
So we'd go to Sonic or McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's.
or Subway or Blimpie back then. And we'd get our sandwich and just chill and do high school things,
yeah, that's great.
Just hang out, yeah.
So did your friend group shrink when you got a smaller car?
Yeah, it did. Well, actually, no. My dad said I was kind of like the school bus. Yeah, so I had like 8 people in the Mini Cooper at one point.
So you didn't shrink your community. You just put them into a smaller car.
Yeah. Everybody on top of each other in the back is very uncomfortable. But I didn't care because I was driving. So
yeah, that's great. So you got this Mini Cooper, and
first thing I did is I got a set of. So I worked as a waiter at a restaurant.
Great.
I got a set of. I think it was ASAs. They kind of look like BBS. They're like BBS knockoffs, the BBS LM knockoffs.
Okay.
Because obviously the BBS LMs were so expensive.
Yeah.
And being
on a waiter's salary.
Yeah, on a waiter's salary, I'm not going to spend all that money on wheels. So I got those, and then I slowly started getting the itch to mess with the engine. So I got a reduction pulley to make the supercharger better or faster, whatever.
Okay.
And then I had a subwoofer because back in the day, having loud, obnoxious bass in your car was the cool thing.
That's still a thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Isaac just put one in his Miata.
Yeah.
I think it's still a thing.
I went above and beyond to put 2 big kicker stubs in the back, and I was that annoying kid driving super fast down the street.
Love it.
In a Mini.
That's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
And how about that first under the hood build? Did you get your dad to help you?
Yeah, he did. Obviously, obviously. Yeah. He was like, you shouldn't touch your car. It's a brand new car. It's a great car. And I was like, but I want to do stuff to my car. Let me just work on it, So he helped me install the pulley. We did some seat belts. I had 3-point Schroth seat belts I bought at this racing shop.
Cool.
So I could feel like a racer.
Nice.
The Mini.
In there. Yeah.
We went and we got so the Mini has these skirts that are like plastic black.
Mm-hmm.
So we sanded those down and we took it to one of his buddy shops and he painted it silver. So the whole car was silver.
Nice.
So my first car was silver, and I think I've owned all silver cars except one car.
Okay.
That was a BMW. That was a black BMW, and I'm never buying another BMW again or black car. So I'm biased to silver.
You're biased. I'm biased to red.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good color.
Yeah. I like red. Red wagons.
Yeah.
Yeah, my story.
Audi?
Volkswagen? Yeah. But Toyota Tercel was my first.
Yeah.
260,000 miles.
Yeah.
4-wheel drive. Those things were bomber.
Oh, yeah.
Great cars.
Yeah.
But drove until it died.
Yeah. Of course.
So you get this Mini.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your build. You're on a waiter salary. I think I'm hearing a common theme. I feel like there's a common theme. Is like I feel like everybody's first couple of builds are about sort of this resourcefulness of like I've only got a little bit of money, so what can I do?
Definitely.
It sounds like that's what this sort of taking the trim off and getting it painted, sanded it yourself.
Yeah, it was a lot of aesthetic mods basically. So the interior, like they sold some really nice switches for the Mini. It had like the airplane switch for the windows.
Nice.
So I changed the color of those. I went for the shift knob and the e-brake. I changed those to Momo.
Okay.
I got some Momo pedals for it.
Nice.
So it was more aesthetic, more than engine-wise, because the engine stuff was very expensive.
Right.
I went out and there was this company called Alta, and I bought 4 huge rally fog lights that I put in the bottom intake of the front bumper, and the car looked freaking amazing. And I had light power like no other. So it was this little Mini Cooper, and every time somebody cut me off on the freeway, I would just let them have it with the lights, just light them up, because it was super bright, super bright.
So you shoved a bunch of people in that first car and in the Mini van.
Yeah.
It feels like, and I'm picking this vibe up from you.
Yeah.
I feel like you love sharing your cars.
I love that's what it's all about. I mean,
So
I have it every
in your car.
Yeah, every morning I wake up and I pinch myself when I look at my car.
Yeah.
But I think that the most important thing for me is sharing this enthusiasm that I have with other people, and then making them hopefully have the same enthusiasm for the car that they buy in the future.
That's us.
That's what it's all about. That's what the car culture, I think, is all about. Because I think as the years have gone by, we've strayed a little bit away from what it means to be in the car culture. Tell
me more about that. Like, what do you mean?
I feel like people nowadays have or buy these cars just to kind of show off.
Okay.
It's kind of like a status symbol.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be about that. I mean, it's a machine. I love my car.
Yeah.
Like I love getting in the car and driving the snot out of it every single day.
That's great.
Every day. I mean, when it's not 1,000,000 degrees.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, and I love sharing my passion. I'm biased to Porsche because it's my brand, and the community around Porsche is spectacular. Everybody's super friendly. Yeah. I haven't ventured into other like brands.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that JDM crowd is the same.
Yep.
That the Italian Euro Italian is the same. But I mean, a lot of the friends that I have now, I've met through the Porsche community. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm very thankful for that, and
awesome.
That's why I've kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. So your dad was it sounds like to me like your dad was your first mentor, partner in modding, and he got you that first ride.
Yeah.
He gave you the minivan for the family minivan. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your dad. He was into Porsches early, so I mean, because I know a little history from this car. So tell me a little bit about this car, but then I'd love to hear about your dad, but I'd also love to hear, because you talk so much about community, if you had any other sort of car buddies, car mentors, people who have worked on cars with you. But let's talk about your dad first.
Yeah.
We'll go there.
So my dad has been a car guy ever since he was I guess a teen.
Yeah.
He grew up in Mexico City in the 70s, 60s and 70s. And then he went and he lived in Europe for some of the 80s.
Okay.
But all of my
What
uncles,
does he do?
he is a commercial real estate.
Commercial real estate. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What's his name?
Carlos.
Yeah. Cool.
So
I always say to your dad, I'm like, yeah, Dad,
Yeah.
what's your dad's name? Come on.
So he was all about the American muscle because in Mexico in the 60s and 70s, the only thing that was really available was muscle cars.
Nice.
Ford, Dodge.
American
He had a Maverick with Weber carburetors.
Sweet.
That, I mean, he talks about it all the time. And
Love it.
He had a couple of French cars, Renault.
Yeah.
He had an R8,
Yeah.
I think, and an R10.
One of those, yeah.
And he flipped them.
And this is when he was in Mexico City.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But his driver was a muscle car.
Yeah, his driver at the beginning when he was a teen.
Yeah, as a
the
teen.
muscle car. Yeah,
Yeah, I
was
could see it.
his thing.
I mean, you say the years and you say the place, and I'm like, I get a vision.
Yeah,
You know, I was like,
Mexico
oh.
City was in its golden years.
Yeah,
back then.
exactly. No,
it was clean,
beautiful.
amazing, beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
Very
still a pretty
safe.
cool city.
Oh, it's an amazing
yeah,
town.
amazing. Yeah, town.
Yeah. Oh, it's like New York.
Yeah, I was going to
Just
say town.
more hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was into cars.
Yeah.
And then he ended up.
Then he moved to LA briefly, and then
Okay.
he moved to Europe with one of his uncles that lived in Spain.
Okay.
And his uncle is kind of the one that introduced him to kind of like the higher end European. Yeah, so he had a Rolls Royce with his uncle.
Okay.
His uncle was also commercial real estate and no residential and commercial real estate in Spain back in the late 70s to 80s.
Okay.
And then he was all about living in Europe and traveling in that car, and he was all about cars always.
That's great.
And then he moved back to the States, to LA, and then he had the Targa. He had a Silver Targa with one of his business partners.
And he had that. You were pretty young when he had that. It sounds like
I wasn't born yet.
You weren't born yet when he got the first one.
Yeah.
Because so tell me a little about this. This is the car that you built.
Yeah. With him during the pandemic.
During the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you guys built it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So I was looking originally for a coupe.
Okay.
But he was like, why don't you get a Targa? You live in Arizona. The weather's great more than half the year. Take the top off, drive. Convertible cars are amazing. He's biased, of course. He has a lot of cars that are convertible. Yeah. But he loves his convertibles, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I don't like a cab. He's like, why don't you get a Targa? I had a Targa with my business partner. It was a Silver Targa. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. And then the price range for me, for the budget, I mean, I found this and I found a couple of other G-bodies, Porsches. And this one just made sense. And they had it on consignment at a store. We went back and forth with a price.
Here locally?
No, in Sacramento.
In Sacramento, okay.
Yeah. So
and it wasn't running.
It was running, but they really didn't tell us much because it was a pandemic.
Sure, right.
When we bought the car, we didn't buy it with physically seeing the car.
Okay.
So we were like, just send me pictures of this.
You were going to do a rebuild anyway, right?
Yeah.
At some level?
I was going to do mechanical build.
Okay.
And that was it. We weren't going to do any body work or anything. So we put the car on the trailer. I was living here and I was working at the hospital. My dad was in Texas. Okay. I wasn't traveling, obviously, because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
He gets a car. The car comes off the trailer. He turns on the car and goes for a drive, and it starts spewing oil everywhere. So my dad immediately knew there was something wrong with the car. So he then proceeded to take the car the next morning to his one of his friend's shops in San Antonio. And his friend was like, dude, we need to pull the engine out and we need to do all the mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
So second day after the car comes off the trailer, the car's coming apart.
Wow.
So
and you weren't there yet?
No, I was just getting pictures because I couldn't go. We couldn't travel, and I was working at the hospital, and we really couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Because of that whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing that we all lived through that was crazy. But yeah, it was kind of like a distraction from the pandemic, and it was a way to connect with my dad being away from home. Because I was here and he was in
almost
Texas.
became sort of a pandemic therapy for you two.
Yeah.
So did the car stay there with him the whole time?
Yeah, the car was
and he was doing the work?
No, he wasn't doing the work. Someone was doing the work for us.
Okay, but you guys were connecting over the car. So the car is sort of... the car's already got... I mean, it's got some motion right there. It's like it kept you guys connected during that time when... What were we doing? We were doing virtual cocktail parties. We were doing all the
virtual
weird stuff.
New
Year's.
Yeah.
You guys were working on a car virtually together.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, we were sharing ideas across. I'd send him links.
Nice.
And be like, hey, what do you think of this? He's like, you should do this. You shouldn't worry about that. We should focus more on this.
Yeah, that's great.
So we exchanged ideas. I'd send him like my shopping cart from the website. I'd be like, what do you think that I really need?
Yeah.
And what do you think that I don't really need? Yeah, that I don't really need at all. And he's like, focus on getting the engine straight, the transmission straight, and the suspension. And then we'll worry about everything else.
Probably words you'd heard before.
Yeah.
From your dad.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like everybody ever when I was worked on cars.
Yeah.
Get the engine straight. You can worry about the ding in the hood later.
Yeah. So I wasn't going to do any of the body work on it.
Okay.
So we had the engine out, and my dad met this other guy in Texas.
Yeah.
He's a people's person too.
Yeah.
And the guy that he met had a body shop.
Okay.
And so he was like, hey, my son's doing a project with the Porsche he bought. And the guy was like, hey, well, you've helped me a little bit. Why don't you bring me the car and I'll repaint for you guys? And it just fell.
How excited were
on
you
my
when you
lap.
got that call?
And I was like, oh my God, let's do this.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So it didn't go as smoothly as I had planned.
Okay.
The car sat so he did all the body work. He peeled all the paint off, worked on parts of the body. We put it has a little bit of Bondo on one of the doors. And then he put primer and sealed the body. And then he shoved it in the back of his shop. And it sat there for 4 months without him touching the car. And he was charging us for it. So, I mean, still not what you would have paid at a regular shop. But still charging, you know?
Yeah.
So the pandemic the vaccines came out. I was one of the fortunate first 50 or 100 people here in town to get the vaccine because I was working in the hospital.
Yep.
And so I decided to travel to Texas. And I showed up at the guy's body shop, obviously all ready to go.
Sheriff's in town.
And I was like,
where's my horse, man?
My car's been here for like 4 or 5 months. Can we get it painted?
Yeah.
So I kind of hurried him. He says that I hurried him, but he had the car for a long time. Painted it, delivered the car already painted to the mechanical shop where they were working on the engine to put the car together. And then when I started going around the car, it was full of like paint runs and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'll wait till we're done with all the mechanical stuff and then I'll sort it out.
Yep.
So he kind of did his own thing, and then we lost track of that body shop. So one of my dad's friends that has the mechanical shop helped us find another guy that worked on Porsche panels, or body panels.
Yeah.
So he finished. He ended up repainting the car.
Nice.
Before
you put it together.
Yeah, before we put it together. So yeah, that was. I mean, it sounds so quick and so simple, but it took 22 months.
22 months from the time it came off the trailer at your dad's place to bring it till you were driving it out.
Till I got it on a trailer here and delivered here.
Got it.
From Texas.
And have you and your dad been in this car together?
Yeah, we went to Rennsport reunion.
Great.
So it was my first Rennsport reunion. It's like the holy grail of Porsches.
Yeah.
Like the Porsche events.
Yeah.
They do it once every 5 years.
Okay.
But you get some crazy. You had serial number 1 Porsche.
Seriously.
Yeah, there.
Wow.
You have crazy Le Mans winning cars.
Wow.
Race cars.
Super cool.
Like in the Indy, Porsche raced Indy car for a little bit.
Had your dad been before?
No, never.
So what was that like? You guys get to where was it?
It was in Monterey. Laguna Seca.
Yeah. Laguna Seca, great place.
Yeah.
And you guys drove there in this?
No, so my dad flew in from Texas. He's like, I'm not driving.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not driving from San Antonio, or from LA, because the car was in LA.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So he flew in, and then one of my brothers that lives in New York flew to LA, got in the car with me, and then we drove together to Monterey.
Great.
That was a very intense experience.
Driving up the coast?
Yeah, driving up the coast with no AC. It was hot.
So, yeah.
You have like a tractor engine behind you, buzzing the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were very, very toast when we got to Monterey.
Yeah.
For that, I think it's like a 3-4 hour drive.
Nice.
4.5 hour drive.
Yes.
But it was. It was a great experiance.
Yeah. That's cool. How was the drive? I mean, outside of being bacon.
Oh, great! It was amazing. The cars.
You said you've done several long hauls.
I drove it from here to LA. I have family in LA, so I left the car there. We drove from LA to Monterey.
Yeah.
From Monterey back to LA. From LA to here. So like 2,000 miles.
Nice.
No issues. It just changed the oil. That was it.
Does your dad love it as much as you?
Yeah, he does.
He probably does.
Yeah, he's like, hey, so we have a Jag that we're trying to sell.
This is the new one we just saw,
the
right?
67 Jag.
67 Jag, okay.
So he was like, why don't you sell yours and you can keep the Jag? And I was like, no way. This is
it's priceless
project
now,
passion.
You're not going to get it's your thing.
Yeah. It's just a passion of. It's like my passion, you know. It's like I worked on it. It's different.
Yeah. What do you like more, working on it or driving it?
Driving it, of course.
Okay. I don't think it's of course for everybody. Some people always like to work.
Working on it is good. Now I know what's wrong. You know.
Yeah. It's yours.
The first week that I had it, the alternator took a dump, so right. I had to replace the alternator. So I had to go and find an alternator because the alternator that was in the car was made by Marshall, French company. Mm-hmm. They don't make those alternators anymore, obviously. So I had to call around town to see if I can get a Bosch.
There's that resourceful back from your teenage years.
Yeah.
How do I find it?
Yeah, and I found it, and it was a core exchange, so it was perfect.
Great.
And it took me like 3 or 4 hours to put the alternator in. It's my first time doing it, but it was great.
So what was the greatest challenge of this build? If you could bring it down to the greatest challenge of the build.
Just getting the logistics, I think, of putting it together.
Coordinating it all.
Because I wasn't in town.
Yep.
The guy that was helping me build it was obviously in Texas. I was here.
Mm-hmm.
It was coordinating getting the parts from him, from Pelican Parts in California and Sierra Madre in California to him in Texas.
Got it.
We had a oil line that runs from the front to the back for the oil cooling. We had that part shipped to us 4 times because every time that FedEx delivered the part, it was bent. So that was a 2-month delay in getting the car because of this stupid oil line.
Have you modded other cars besides this one?
Have I bought any other cars?
Have you modded other cars besides this one? Years?
No.
The first big one?
This is my first really big one.
Yeah.
I had a Audi RS4.
Okay.
I did the full catback
and
wheels and suspension. That was a B7. That was a 2006. Then after that one, I had a Carrera 4 997.
Okay.
That was amazing. That one I straight piped it at one point. And it sounded so loud. So we went back to the stock mufflers. But I did suspension on that one. We did sway bars. I went ahead and I ordered the Sport Classic wheels, which are the modern looking Fuchs.
Yeah.
Like the Sport Classic, like the 997 Sport Classic. So my car looked identical to the 997 Sport Classic. And what else did I do to that car? So I dropped it, sway bars. I did the Euro taillights.
Cool.
All the GT3 interior.
Cool.
Brakes and ECU flash. And I had a Bluetooth iPod connector because back in the day, the car was a 2006.
Yeah.
So it was Eddie Murphy's car, actually. That 997. He traded it in for a Panamera.
Oh, yeah.
So I got that car from the Porsche Beverly Hills.
It was Eddie Murphy's actual car?
Yeah. It still had his address.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You were driving around a celebrity car.
I know.
What do you think it is about the modder or the person who's building? I mean, what's that feeling when you see something you want, you get in your car?
It's like buying an accessory, like clothing. If you like clothing, you see this really nice T-shirt, and you're like, I look good in that.
I look good in that.
And then you're like, okay, I want my car to look good, right?
Yeah.
So I get the headlamps. Like the most recent one I've done is the headlamps.
Yeah, these are cool. The
Bosch. Yeah. There's this guy in the Midwest that sells them.
So iconic.
New old stock.
Yeah.
Bosch originals. I was like, I need those headlamps because the car's gonna look good on those headlamps.
Yeah, it's super distinct. The first thing I notice is those headlamps.
So the French yellows. So every time I do something like that to the car is to make it look good, but I don't know, just it revamps my love for it every time that I add something to it.
And it's I wager to say, because I know my car and other people's cars, I think there's a reflection of your personality in there somewhere, right? It is a piece of your creative what's Emerson say? We're only half ourselves, the other half is our expression.
Yeah.
So
totally.
What are you expressing to the world?
Totally,
so I feel like the car community in particular is because it's such a piece of hardware.
It is.
It's less fleeting than a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
It's real, I mean, second only maybe to your home.
Yeah.
which sits in one place.
Totally. And you can't go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't show it. You can't share it that much.
Yeah. You can have
to be
people over,
careful.
but-
You have to be careful who you share your home with. But
Absolutely.
But your car, you can drive it down the road and someone's like, oh my God, you don't even know the person. And he'll be like, oh my God. And that image will be engraved in their head, like.
So how often does that happen to you? You feel like people are like, car.
I used to at the beginning when I got it back.
Yeah.
Noticed it a lot, and now I don't. But I see the other day there was it was a cool moment for me because there was this mother and daughter. They were I was here at the quarter.
Yeah.
And the car was parked right in front of the Press Coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were just so excited to see the car and taking pictures and recording. And obviously, I walked up to them because I was leaving, and I opened the car, and they just, oh
it's
my
your
God,
car.
it's your car. And I was like, yeah, just sit in it, open it, turn it on.
Love it, because I don't think everybody would let them do that.
No, not everybody, but
good for you.
For me, that's what it's all about. So, and for me, it's priceless to see that reaction in people's faces. You're just sharing something that
you worked on.
You worked on, and they like, and it's like your sculpture.
Yeah.
In a sense. And for me, it was just amazing to share that.
And why were they so excited? Did they say?
I don't know. They just, I have a blog about the car on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think a pretty large, it's not the largest following on Instagram, but it's a pretty substantial following. But I just think that they were surprised that I was
out and about.
So amicable about it, and letting them sit in it and out and about and actually using my car.
Yeah.
Because
actually driving it every day.
Yeah, drive this now. I have that rock chip I showed you. Yeah. That's driving me crazy, but it's a daily driver. So what can you? It's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you go, you don't take anything. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
If you were going to get a car that wasn't a daily driver, do you have a dream car?
Yeah.
Give it to us.
It's a 959, Porsche 959.
Porsche 959.
Yeah. Or Ferrari F40.
Okay.
But that's like...
Yeah. Another lifetime.
Yeah, another lifetime.
You got to live long enough to get that one.
Yeah. But, the 959 is just an amazing car.
Yeah.
Amazing car. I think Nissan bought it to model the GTR.
Yeah, I think so.
Like the suspension and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the handling.
That's cool.
It's my favorite car.
So I talked about the hardest thing on this car. What was the most delightful thing? Like, it's going to happen or it's not going to happen but then it did or...
So when we were purchasing the car, there was another guy bidding on it.
Is that moment? Yeah.
And the seller, so the seller was, because it was on consignment, the guy was like, I have this other gentleman that's interested and he wants to redo the car for his daughter. And I was like, dude, the cashier's check's already in the mail. Sorry.
What are you going to do? It's mine now.
Yeah. And he would.
I'm redoing it for my dad.
And then he ghosted us for a little bit, and I was like, "Oh my God, he sold the car. I'm not going to get the car anymore." So I'm
crestfallen.
Yeah. And then we found out that I think his wife was in labor, so he was in the hospital having a kid, and he didn't communicate with us. So I was like, and then he's finally, I got the check in the mail. We'll ship the car, and I was like. That was my wow moment. I was like, "That's great. This car is mine now, and now I'm gonna build it how I like it, and then I get to share it."
So who's been in this car with you the most? Who do you drive with the most? Do you have anybody you drive with?
So my girl's in the car a lot.
Good.
But it's mostly she likes it. She loves it.
She loves it. Good. Yeah, she feels good when she's getting.
She threatens me every time I tell her I'm gonna sell it. Oh, she's like, "Yeah, if you sell it, we're done.
We're done."
Yeah. So none of that.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's mostly me. Yeah, I find it very therapeutic when I'm very stressed from work because I work mostly from home now.
Okay.
So
I'm still in medicine?
Yeah, I'm still in medicine. Okay. I do clinical research.
Okay.
I work with a great company, great colleagues.
Awesome.
But I'm in my house most of the time.
Right.
In my office, and so what I do is I just get in the car. And I go up to Bartlett Lake by myself.
Okay.
And I go 90 miles an hour.
Good. We won't repeat that.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
And then I come back, and then I go maybe on the freeway for a little bit, and then I come back, and
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
It's interesting. You've gone to both ends of the spectrum. The car is a great connector.
Yeah.
Brings you in touch with people, and it also gives you solitude.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That a single vehicle can do.
Yeah.
To have that much range.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy.
That's pretty awesome.
So, I mean, it's my therapy outside of therapy, you know?
Yeah, good.
So,
yeah,
it's good stuff.
I can hear that.
Yeah.
So if you had to go back, a couple more questions, but if you had to go back to your minivan.
Yeah.
And your modding journey, your adventure with your car, is there something that you do different?
No, I wouldn't change a single bit.
You wouldn't change a thing. I love it. Yeah, you got your dad, you got your people.
I had really good support. I had a very, I guess I could say privileged upbringing.
Good.
Which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, it's the best way to be. If you've been blessed,
Yeah, and I think it was perfect. I think that I don't know, it was great. I wouldn't change a single bit. It made me grow. It made me realize how to save money to get something better.
Yeah.
But yeah, just part of the maturity, I guess, of growing up. Yeah.
So it sounds like I was going to ask you, what's the biggest lesson you learned about modding from being involved with cars and loving them so much? But like, what? It sounds like there's a few you got. But
yeah, I mean, I guess being frugal about a project. I guess, and then eventually, if you can build up to it, go for it.
So you don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do it all at once. You know, you want to have that Singer 911, right?
Yeah.
Reimagines $2.5 million, and that's all done at once. But here's the price tag of $2.5 million, right?
Yeah.
You can do it little by little.
Yeah.
You don't have to have everything.
And by the way, I wager that if you had your two dream cars, this would still be your favorite.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, this would still be your baby.
Every time I look at it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't change a thing.
That's great.
It's great. And it's great that I get to share it with everybody.
Yeah, well,
I appreciate
these
moments.
Sharing it with us.
I'm super excited to be here with you guys.
Ride.
You guys have a really cool thing going on. And
we're particularly excited because this is this is the best part of the.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I actually got into this seat, but I'm here and I'm getting to do the best part, which is to talk. And Isaac does it. We all do it every day, but it's getting to talk to the people. We're trying to build a software product, but we get to talk to the people. We're trying to make a tool that's like making people their life and their adventure with their car better, so they get to do this more and talk about the car and be out driving and have the kid looking at it, or find the therapy that the car gives them, or and some people mod because they're problem solvers. Yeah. Right. And that's they like the building part even more than the driving part. Yeah. That's okay too.
That's perfect.
Because you can bring whatever you want to.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a beautiful thing. So
it is.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much
for the time. I would love it if we could get up and do a little walk around.
Yeah, of course.
And that'd be awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. These are new.
So I think they're new.
Original?
Yeah, they're original Bosches.
Okay.
The lenses. Because the headlights.
But they look brand new, but they're.
Yeah, I just put them in. The lenses, I just put them in. But it had clear lenses. And then I did the fogs as well.
Okay.
Just because I like how the French look.
No, I'm
fogs.
wearing my Varney coat today.
Yeah,
jacket. It's like, I used to have glasses, Varneys that had the same. Now I wish I would have worn them down.
Like the driving ones.
Yeah, exactly. They're so cool.
And then I did recently the center caps. It was very hard to find these center caps. Did you tell me that you painted these? So I painted the wheels with help from a friend that has a body shop.
Yep.
But I found these center caps. It was very hard to get them because most of them are out of stock. Porsche started remaking their classic car parts recently.
Okay.
But these center caps are hand painted.
Nice.
The crest is hand painted. So that's the most recent thing I've done apart from the lenses. On the car. I have the Pegasus. I like how it looked. The old 356s had the hot rods had the Pegasus painted on them.
Okay.
It says it signifies power and speed and whatever.
Okay.
But I just like how it looks. It gives it a cool contrast.
Fair enough.
With the red and the silver.
Nice.
And then I did in the interior. I did the shift knob.
Yep.
And I installed my cup holder yesterday. I'm so excited.
I saw that down there, actually. I was like, he is his daily driver. He's got a cup holder. But it's cool.
It is cool.
It's cool. And it's not above anything. I love that you've got it tucked down in the passenger side seat.
Yeah. So it's made by this cool shop in LA called Sleeper Speed Shop.
All right.
And they specialize in old Porsches. And so they make it. And I was able to get it put in yesterday. I put it in myself yesterday.
Nice.
And then obviously the shift knob. Broken skate deck shift knob, modeled after the Le Mans or the endurance racing Porsches.
Yep.
For the engine,
beauty. Yeah, so
yeah, we did the powder coating on a lot of the parts. The fan, red. I did the airbox from a guy in the Midwest called Acton Craft.
okay.
It's a carbon fiber box.
That was you.
Yeah, of course.
Distributor kit.
It has too much.
Yeah.
They come in that color, I think.
Yeah.
And they come in another color, but yeah, we did the distributor cap.
Yeah, that happened recently, didn't it? Or did you say the first time you drove it, that blue?
No, the alternator blue.
Oh, the alternator blue. Okay,
and the alternator sits behind the fan, so you have to pull the fan out.
Yep.
To get to the alternator. Yeah. And then obviously the Arizona plates, copper plates, are just a must.
Yeah.
And the Vasek Polak, the bumperettes,
really nice.
Yeah, I put some ceramic coating on them.
Did you? Okay.
2 weeks ago.
Nice.
Well, my detail guy.
He's
really good.
They look beautiful.
Yeah.
Who do you work with here in town? Like who does most of the work on your car here in town?
I do.
You do. I mean, I knew you do a lot, but you have some people that you've worked with.
Yeah, Patrick Motorsports is really good.
Cool.
Stuttgart Southwest, Jack in Tempe.
Okay.
He's been around forever.
All right.
He's very knowledgeable. He's an older gentleman, but he works on a lot of the air-cooled ones. And the Porsche dealership has a classics department dedicated to oil changes and classic parts or anything that you need in your classic Porsches, and they're really good. The one in Chandler mostly, but the North Scottsdale does one, has as well.
That's great.
They have a department for that.
That's great. And are you part of any clubs here in town? Porsche you had met a lot of friends.
PCA, there's a 4 till 4 meet every first Saturday of the month. It's all Porsches only.
Okay.
I go to that religiously.
Yeah, it's cool.
I started going to Lux Cars and Coffee.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fun. And the Espressos and Engines with John Paul from Andreoli's, the one at Andreoli's. There's one tomorrow.
I'm not from here, so all these places. I know Lux and I know some of the others, but I don't know that one. That's cool.
Lux is good. It's fun. I went the last one they had.
All right.
It was very enjoyable.
I saw the video.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but I went the day before.
It was a cool meet.
Cool.
But yeah.
So how many more days do you think you'll be able to go with the top down? When's it going to get? I guess what I'm asking is, what's the weather report?
Geez, maybe in a month.
In a month? No way.
In a month.
Will you even be able to drive it in a month?
No, probably not.
It's just
if it's too hot, yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll probably take it to Cali and leave it there with my family members.
Okay.
Because there's
Your dad's still in Texas?
My dad's still in Texas. My dad's family is in LA.
Okay.
But at the end of April, there's Air Water, which is a big Porsche event.
Okay.
Porsches only, air-cooled and water-cooled this time around. And so it'll be at the end of April, and I'm shipping the car off probably there.
Where's that?
It'll be in Costa Mesa this year.
Costa Mesa, cool.
Yeah, at the fairgrounds, in the Orange County Fairgrounds.
Nice.
And so I'll ship it there, and I'll leave it there probably this summer, and then I'll just go and I'll
bring it on back.
be cruising up and down the PCH with the top off.
That sounds all right to me, man.
Which is amazing.
I've done that in some
I pinch myself every time.
Cool.
I pinch myself every time.
That is cool. Do you get looks on the road?
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure you do.
I had a lady so when we finished restoring it, we got it shipped here, and there was not Rennsport Reunion. It was Luftgekühlt, which is another air-cooled only Porsche event, and the car got accepted to be in that event right after I restored it, and I took it, and it got so many looks, and I had so many people come up and ask me questions, and I was able to share some of the restoration processes, some of the people that I use to restore.
Sweet.
Because it's all about sharing the information, that wealth of information that I acquired when I was doing the project.
It's great. Yeah, all that information is housed inside of people's experience doing it. I love I was going to say this earlier, but I just love the fact that there's legacy with you. Like, you've taken the legacy of and hearing about your dad. Yeah. So cool.
I just remember, when we were talking earlier, my dad, one of my a core memory I can probably say is maybe 3 years old, in the back of his 930 Turbo, he had a black one. Yeah. And I would just remember be like, step on it, and he would just step on it, and I would go back on the seat because it was a fast car.
Yeah, I mean, you could feel it.
Yeah, you could feel it. When you're a little kid, you feel everything. It was crazy. But that was a core memory for me.
That's great.
And this is why I'm addicted to Porsche.
Yeah, it's an emotional connection.
Yeah, it is.
To your dad. I love it. And you're into your childhood. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And I've been privileged to be around really nice cars, and this is where this passion. But for me, the thing that really brings me joy is sharing my passion with others.
Good. We're gonna make sure we share it here.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
So fun.